Hi, welcome back. Geez, aren't we going through some crap at the moment, hey? Obviously, I haven't been on for a little while. All of this uncertainty and anxiety has just sort of had me sitting back and hiding away and not sure how I deal with my life, let alone trying to put something out there for you guys. But anyway, I sort of decided I was going to talk to you today about my mental versus my logic mind. I have spent a lifetime battling with myself, where a lot of people, if something's wrong, you sort of take it out of the person that you feel you've been wronged by. I tend to sort of internalise everything, so everything in some way, excuse me, in some way is my fault. There's logic there, like logically I know that it's not, but my head will find any reason it can to make it my fault. Prime example, if you were to come to my house, if I invited you over for a cuppa, under normal circumstances, and you walked up my stairs and you tripped and fell, that would be my fault. In my mind, it's my fault, because if I hadn't have invited you in the first place, then that wouldn't have happened to you. And so then I start berating myself internally, and once the door is open, the rest of my stuff then comes out. They tell me the reason I have such a deep level of anxiety and depression is because a lot of people, one door at a time opens and things come out and memories come out and feelings come out. And with me, all the doors seem to open at once. So I've got this barrage of every thought, emotion, feeling. Everything becomes to a point. Everything comes to a point from that one incident. As I said, logically I know that you falling up the stairs has nothing to do with me. That it's your own fault because you weren't watching where you were going. But, as I said, my mind has always targeted me to be the blame for everything, which obviously stems from way back then. But it has made my whole life rather difficult, because logically I know that not everything's my fault. I mean, it can't always be my fault. So my mind tries to find anything that it can put on me. The one thing that I've come to understand in these last lot of years is that thoughts aren't real. So what I think, or because I think it, doesn't make it so. The feelings that come from those thoughts, the feelings are real. Yeah, the anxiety, the sadness, the pain, all of that, that's real. The feelings, but the thoughts, they're not. They're exactly that, they're thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. And for people like myself, it's the difficulty is in changing it, to make it different, to see it in a different way. One of my biggest hopes is to be able to see me through other people's eyes, because very, very, very rarely in my life have I ever been degraded at all outside of my family home. It was due to other people's opinions of me that I came to understand that I'm a half-decent human being. But when I was saying before about the feelings and the thoughts, I'll put a few thoughts down here that I've actually dealt with. Okay, so one of a thought would be, for me, is I can't do anything right. Now, if I sit back and I look at that statement and I think about it logically, then I understand that I know how to cook, I can cook a meal and I come to the end of it and people eat it and enjoy it. I clean my house and it's tidy. I went to school and I made it through school with decent enough grades. I've written a book which has gotten positive feedback. There's a lot of, if I sat back and actually wrote them all down to contradict that actual thought, I understand that I can do things right because I have done things right. And there's actual proof that I've done things right. There's no proof that I haven't. I mean, aside from we all make mistakes, but that doesn't mean I can't do anything right. Something else that I've said to myself is I can't do this anymore, especially with the mental illness. And I know that a lot of us have sort of uttered that statement on more than one occasion. And again, if I was to write that on this side, I can't do this anymore. Well, Christa, you're 57, you'll be 58 at the end of the month, and you're still here. And you're still doing it. So the reality is that I can do this because I have done it and I'm still doing it. And the thing is that we don't give ourselves enough credit for the things that we do. We notice our wrongs because that's what we've been taught. We've been taught, the focus for those of us that are ill, and whatever made us ill, the focus was on what we did wrong. And it was kept being compounded and compounded and compounded until we believed it. And so in our subconscious, we believe that. But if we look at reality and look at the, if we look at reality and see it for what it is, then we would know that we can do, and like we can be, and we can, and we have, because we have. Another one is that, and I think we did this before, sort of, that everything's my fault. Well, let me tell you, I'm well aware that my logic tells me that it's not my fault. If we have a tendency as adults and as people to go, it's your fault that this happened, it's your fault that that happened. Well, it's not anybody's fault. If we allow these things to affect our lives, then it's on our heads. I suffered childhood abuse, and through that I was taught basically that everything was my fault. My world became that of someone else's opinions and thoughts. And so as I grew up, that's all I knew. I didn't know any different. But as we get older, those abuses for a lot of us are left behind in our childhood. But we tend to carry them with us. So we abuse ourselves. I read a piece in a book once, this one sentence, which actually got me started thinking a long time ago. I think Anthony was about 9 and he's 38 this year, or 37. Anyway, and it said that we as adults abuse ourselves more than our parents ever did. And there was another one that I think I told you about, this Robert E. Smith, who does the emotional freedom tapping. And he was saying that it's the same thing. The abuse, it's not denying that the abuse happened. It's not putting it away as if it didn't matter. It's not doing that. It's about releasing it, because it's not... He said something about when he was a child, he was in the tree because some kids had chased him home after school and they were bullying him and throwing sticks at him and things. And his father came home and he thought he was safe. Well, his father got him out of the tree and belted the shit out of him. And he did that because Robert had allowed these kids to put him in the position that he was, and I suppose the father was embarrassed. And then he carried that with him, feeling that he was a coward or whatever his father had sort of portrayed him to be at the time. But as he said, as an adult, his father doesn't fit into his head. So they're just thoughts. They're memories, but they're still thoughts. And they're not happening anymore. They happened then. And they were real then, but they're not real anymore. It's something that I've been trying to work through for a while now, to understand and to help my mind understand what's real and what's not. And I'm finding more and more that most of my distress and depression and sadnesses and all of that come from my perceived ideas that don't have a basis. At this point, I have a lot of problems, a lot of trouble dealing with myself, because I used to feel sorry for myself. I used to, woe is me, all of this happened, that's so, why did it happen, and why did I have to deal with all of that? Why is my life so horrible? Why do I have to deal with all of this stuff all the time? And I'm at a point where I don't do that anymore, because that was then and this is now. And what happened is I got to a point where I still have all the emotions, but I don't have the basis for it anymore. But what my mind does now, because I can't go back and go, oh, woe is me, because I won't allow my mind to do that, now it finds all these other little things to sadden me, to keep me in that spot. Going down the street today, walking in the shops and seeing people with their masks on, and the sadness and the emptiness and all of the confusion and everything. I've taken that on board, and I stood there and cried, like I physically cried. For what? This isn't my fault. I didn't do this. But my mind is still trying to find something to keep me sad, because it's easier to be where I've always been than making it past that and living in the light where I want to live. And it's a journey. I keep saying it, it's a real journey, and it's been hard. But like I said from the beginning, I plan to make it through to the end with a smile on my face, the end being a smile on my face, being happy, being content, being alive and living. Most of the stuff most of the things are just thoughts. And memories are thoughts. They're not happening today. It doesn't make them any less real. It doesn't make them, they did happen. It doesn't sort of make it okay that it happened either. But we have to stop letting it destroy our lives here, because we're not there anymore. So remember to breathe, remember to smile, and remember you. I love you guys.